Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to see how to use variables inside of this code. So we have this interface here, right? ETH0, and actually we have this interface in 3 lines together. And we have to make this into a variable so that user can choose whatever interface they want to use inside of this code. So it will be easier for our user to edit the code or just give an input to this code as well. So we can actually just take this MAC address out of here and make it into a variable as well, because a user may have to change it to another MAC address as they're choosing. So actually have to do it right. So all you have to do is just create a variable for that, like interface in here. And for example, I will say my interface is actually ETH0. So rather than saying ETH0 in here, I will delete this and say interface instead. Then, of course, I'm going to do the same thing for these 3 lines together. So let me delete this and say interface, and then for the last line as well, interface in here. Next thing, I'm going to do the same for MAC address. So I will create a MAC address in here, okay, above, and let me just specify a MAC address like 002233 and something different from the previous one, okay, 7799 and 11 for instance. And rather than just giving this static text or string in here, let me delete this and give the MAC address variable. So this is going to work, right? Just save this and try if it really works. So let me go back to my terminal here. We have still terminal inside of my Mac changer folder, so I can just call this. And as you can see, it's already executed, and if I say ifconfig, then I will see it really changed my MAC address on ETH0. So this works out pretty well. But the next big question is that how do we get input from the user for this ETH0 and MAC address? Because in this case, if we leave our code like that, then the only option will be left for user to open this Python code and edit the code. But we don't want that. What do we want here is actually this. We have to specify some code so that our user can give the input while they are using terminal. So let me show you what I mean. If I do ifconfig -- here, then I can specify an input like help. If I hit enter, it will show me the help explanation of this ifconfig command. And so here, as you can see, user gave an input to the command of ifconfig as help, and it does something else rather than just running ifconfig, right? So we can take inputs in the command line. So we can take inputs in the terminal. So what I really want is that enabling user to run this in our Python code as well. So if a user wants to specify an interface or a MAC address in our code, they can use terminal and they can just choose whatever they want. But in order to do that, we have to know some other module, some other library. And it's called actually the opt parse. So we have to learn how to use this another module. So let me import this, okay, and it's called opt parse, and it's written like this, and this comes pre-installed as well. So with using this module, we can take inputs from the user. And in fact, there are 2 libraries to do that. One is opt parse as we use it here, and the other one is arg parse, like an argument parser. And let me show you first the opt parse in here. I'm not going to go over the documentation, the Googling part. I'm going to show you how to use it directly. But you can search it and just study it yourself if you want more features for opt parse. In order to use opt parse, you have to create a parser object. Okay, I'm going to call this parse object, and you have to do it like this: opt parse dot option, okay, like this, option parser. So option parser. So what does it do? It creates an instance of option parser class, and it just assigns it to be a parse object variable inside my code. Then I can use this parse object variable and add option to it. So it asks for args and keywords, as you can see. So this is arbitrary arguments and keyword arguments, like we have learned before. And you have to know what kind of arguments that you're going to give or supply in this case. So let me show you how to do it. First, we have to specify the command that will be taken from the user when this option will be used. What do I mean? Maybe we are going to take the interface, and we can call it like I or interface in this case, and we have to specify the name of the option first. And the general convention in here, you specify two names, one with one dash and the other one with two dashes. So it goes like this, like dash I for interface, okay, it stands for the interface, and then you specify another argument with two dash, and you write the full name of this name option. Okay, so this is interface, and we're just choosing whatever we want. We would have called this like K or X, and you could have called this anything you want. But in order to comply with the convention in here, I'm choosing the appropriate words. I'm saying interface and I, so my user can understand it better when they see it. And other than that, we have to supply some keyword arguments as well. And if you read the documentation, you will see that you have to specify a destination, so we can reach this option in our code. And in order to do that, you will have just add a comma in here, and after that you say dest, it stands for destination, and it will be equal to something, some variable, okay? And in this variable I will call this interface as well. So this interface will be equal to this interface. So whatever I call here, I have to make the variable name as the same thing, okay? And later on, you can just write a help as well, like we have seen in if config case. So within here, within the help function, within help keyword, you have to specify how to use this parse object thing. So maybe you can say something like this is going to change your interface or something, okay? Interface to change, for example. Now we have created our first option, and when a user gives an input using terminal, we will take this input and save it to a variable called interface so that we can use it in our code. So I believe you have now understood what I'm talking about, but you need more practice to grasp it better. So let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to finalize this.